The school board's involvement actually goes back a number of years previous to us knowing that the Academy High School would materialize. We wanted to give all of our students the option to get the kind of education that they sought, even if it were outside of their feeder pattern. So we took the opportunity to develop a board initiative wherein a community committee was developed. So it consisted of parents, students, community members, staff members, and it was facilitated by a third party. And basically, that group was given the charge to go through a learning journey and discover for itself what kind of new educational experience they would like to see us bring to our community.
The Visioning Committee met on multiple Wednesdays, I think, throughout the year, and several board members attended those meetings. I went to quite a few because we wanted to understand what the discussion was.
At SHW, our sister company, Cambridge, actually led the visioning process. And so the folks at Cambridge suggested that we have a couple of members from SHW on the visioning committee. And so the visioning started with general ideas about what's out there in progressive teaching and learning. You know, I think that group was very much invested in the idea, and there were some people who were serving kind of as teachers and guides to help bring them along. But ultimately, I think what came out of that was something very unique.
Really, I think there's three pillars that we ended up picking for the Academy, which was a STEAM-based curriculum, that it was interdisciplinary, and that it was project-based. We talked to high school students, and one of the repeated themes that we kept seeing or hearing was they wanted education that was relevant to them.
So that process probably took a little under a year of study for them, and it really is a journey. It's not just, the important element is not just the destination and the recommendation, it's what they learned about education and how our community was changing and how our world was changing and how we wanted to respond to that. So we charged that committee with learning and making a recommendation, which they did, and then it was up to the board to decide what to do with it.
Design starts off very broad, and it converges and focuses much like the visioning process did.
It was the space that inspired me, seeing that it was something in motion and it was something in progress and in development.
The open concept yields itself very well to the project-based learning. The students are able to form in groups and collaborate. They're not confined by the building itself. Their work defines the space that they're using.
The idea that when you walk in this school, it doesn't speak to the normal kind of concept that a student has of school. This has a different statement to them. And I think that's important because the curriculum and the challenges of the curriculum are very different. And if you didn't have an environment that was part of that same challenge to the student, then I don't know if the experience for the student would be as heightened. And I think this is a real nice mix of vision and curriculum and operation, and then of environment. So I think some real special things are going to happen in this building.
So the first day of school, we actually prepped our families. We had a community meeting with them in May of 2013, and because all of the families had already been selected, and our building was in the middle of construction, and so we used one of our corporate sponsors, Capital One, and asked them if we could use their facility. And so we went out there in May and we did an activity with them where it was just relationship building, because all the nuts and bolts of school we knew were going to come later, but there needed to be a feeling of community that was built.
You know, these teachers are dedicated. I mean, they're so engaged, they're so excited to be doing what they are, and I'm really impressed with how they've taken the challenge of this new school and you know, taken it headlong. And they're remarkably adaptable. and they've really risen up to the challenge, I would say. I've never seen my son more engaged in his learning than in the last 2 months since he started ninth grade.